Hi there, folks. It's just me again. This time I'm not going to be so much talking about the 1,000 years of peace, but rather it would come down to those who are going to be there in the 1,000 years of peace. This is a subject that I've been praying about for a long time, and one I've been putting off making a video of for a long time, because it can be controversial. And the legalists are going to really have a field day with this one, because it seems so controversial. But my understanding of the Bible, and all the times that I've read it, I've read it a number of times, and I've been a Christian since 1980, although the 80s were pretty rocky, but I recommitted my life to the Lord in 1990, and I've been going full-time since then. And I'm not saying that I have a great Moses-like relationship with our Heavenly Father and with the Lord, but I do believe that I am stronger than many Christians out there, mainly because I do spend a lot of time in the Word and in prayer. The Lord has taught me to pray continually. That is because I'm aware that the Lord, He hears our thoughts. Our inner thought life. It's as loud and clear to Him as our spoken words, as our daily action. So for me, my thought life includes Him. I'm always continually praying inside my head. Wherever I am during the day, there are very few times during my waking hours when I'm not talking to Him either out loud or in my head. And so with this kind of prayer life, continually praying, I believe, and the amount of times that I've read the Bible, I think I've come to a conclusion on who will be raptured. There is a Bible prophecy out there on the internet talking about a small percentage of believers, living believers right now, that will be raptured. That the majority of believers on the face of the planet right now will be left behind, and that I can see, that I can understand. Yes, that I believe is true. There will be a small majority, 50-55%, that are going to be left behind, of all people who go to church, Catholics, Protestants, and what have you. And there will be a large minority that will actually be raptured. But, and this is where the legalists will start to have a field day, it's not only going to be Christians, people who've professed a relationship with Jesus Christ, those who have called upon His name and sought His salvation and are getting to know Him as much as they can daily by reading the Bible and praying to Him. It's not only them that are going to be raptured, but the Bible, and this is where a lot of the legalists miss out, the Bible tells us, Jesus Himself tells us, that there is another flock out there, another flock of sheep that know His voice, but they don't know His name. And the Bible also tells us that there is a group of people out there that have the law of God written on their heart. They're just automatically good, godly, Christ-like people out there. They usually don't go to church. They probably don't read the Bible, but they are just naturally God-like people, Christ-like people. And I believe those people are found all over the planet. It doesn't matter what nation, what country they're from, or even what religion they're from. There's a lot of people in every single world religion that are just great people. And they tolerate their own religious traditions because they found that they have a personal connection with God, with a Christ-like being that they may not understand. So out of all world religions, there's a minority of people there that they don't practice their religion as much as the other hardcore people do in their religion. They're kind of standoffish because they they see the damage that religion does, and that goes for Christianity too. There's a lot of Christian denominations out there that cause a lot of damage. They're going to be left behind. But anyway, the small minority of people, this other sheep, this other flock of Jesus we'll be talking about, will also be raptured as well. So not only will there be a certain amount of Christians raptured, but there will be the other people from the other world religions will be raptured too. And not only them, but I believe the mentally challenged as well, they will be raptured. The Lord's not going to leave them down here to be wiped out by the enemy. Those that are born physically challenged, they've had their speech taken away, they've had their mobility taken away. The Lord's going to be compassionate on them. And also, I believe there's a lot of destitute people out there, a lot of poor in spirit, a lot of the homeless people out there. They've had their dignity taken away by the world. It's not always just a personal choice for them to abandon the world. Sometimes they've grown up in a life or in a family that has just really stripped them of their self-worth, and they're just poor in spirit. And the Bible tells us that the two groups of people that heaven belongs to are the children and those that are poor in spirit. And so it'll be the poor in spirit, those who live in countries that have had their freedom stripped from them. They live under a really strict dictatorial rule, and they're just living in poverty, and they're just daily crying out to God for help. Also, people in third world countries as well who live in situations that they just can't possibly get out of. They're starving to death. They wish things were better, and they too cry out to God in their own way. And so the Lord will be taking those too. And there's a lot of people who've had their personal freedom stripped away. Those who have been kidnapped, and those who are being tortured for absolutely no good reason at all. There's absolutely no good reason to do that anyway. But it'll be these groups of people that I believe will also be raptured as well. And the other verses in the Bible that I stand on, beside those who have the laws of God written on their heart, those of the other sheep, is the simple fact that God himself declares that he will have mercy on whom he will have mercy, and he will have compassion on whom he will have compassion. And so I believe, along with the Christians, there will be a lot of non-Christians, you could call them that, who will be raptured. And from my estimation, from what I can see, and from what and this is just my personal opinion, I believe there will be a minimum 1 billion people raptured, with a maximum of 3 billion people, leaving 3.5 billion people to deal with the tribulation period. And 1 billion of those, I believe, will eventually become martyrs for Christ. So the other 2.5 billion will be the people who've rejected God. They will be the God haters, who are left behind and have to deal with Satan and his group of people who are going to be destroying the majority of the people that are there. Because remember, they want to depopulate the global population to a controllable size of being 500 million, which means there's going to be about 2 billion people that are just going to be ruthlessly slaughtered by Satan and the one-worlders. So it's going to be a really horrible time in tribulation, which is why I believe that God's going to have mercy on so many people out there. Not only is he going to rapture the friends of God and friends of Jesus, that large minority of Christian believers, but he's also going to be rapturing the other sheep as well. And that will be up to, in my personal estimation, 3 billion people. So that's that. My opinion on who's going to be raptured, which means it will be, almost 4 billion people then from the planet Earth. So over half the population, I believe God will have mercy and compassion on, and he will be bringing them over into the 1,000 years of peace too. So those 4 billion, as well as the countless billions that have existed on the planet from Adam and Eve on, they also will be there during the 1,000 years of peace, and we can all make the planet a better place once tribulation is over and once Armageddon and the apocalypse have gotten rid of the evil people, and when Satan is bound and all his demons are bound and they can no longer tempt people. During the 1,000 years of peace, it'll be a much better place for all of us to be, a part of. Oh, right. I forgot. There were 2 other groups of people that I forgot to mention. The other being children. I believe the Lord's not going to leave children down here during the tribulation. So kids all the way up to the age of accountability will be taken. And the age of accountability seems to be getting younger and younger. So whenever kids can give an account of their actions, or when they start doing things that adults do, and they choose to do that sort of thing, knowing that they're doing adult-like things, that's when they reach the age of accountability. So children up till that point will be taken during the rapture. They won't be left here to experience the horrors. And the other group are those that have been sanctified through the relationships of strong Christians, those who will be taken. I believe the Lord is going to have mercy on a lot of family members who are part of the group of the good people, the godly people, the Christ-like people, even though some family members aren't really practicing their religion, if I could use that sort of quote, or developing their relationship with the Lord. In some cases, it's better off that they're cold rather than being lukewarm, because the Lord doesn't like lukewarm Christians. So anyway, that's the other 2, children, and those have been consecrated by the strong Christians, the family members. Okay, that's it. So that's it. Thanks. That's just my opinion. Be a blessing wherever you are, in internet land and YouTube world. I thank you for once again listening to this. I thank you in the name of Jesus, and we will see you somewhere over there, if not up in the air. Okay, see you.